For 15 years, I've been trying to unravel the secrets of archaeology. I've searched all over the Midwest and Mid-Atlantic looking for archaeology. Driveway, I don't remember this from last time. Now, I've put together a crack team of archaeology investigators. And we're going to take you with us as we explore further to find the secrets of archaeology.
It's a popular opinion that archaeology as we know it began to form out of the antiquarians of the Victorian era. But can we trace certain aspects of archaeology back even further than that?
It's human nature to be curious about the past, and no matter where you are in human civilization, there's always a past.
Things we would recognize as archaeology might be identifiable in the past.
How far back can we take archaeology? And what did it look like in our collective past?
The archaeological record isn't what some people think. There are those who believe that archaeology holds mysteries and secrets to a suppressed past. Could alternative archaeology be uncovering these curiosities? Or can science and archaeology explain the seemingly unexplainable? We've made it our mission to look into the claims of alternative archaeology and evaluate the evidence they present. We'll compare it to actual scientific archaeology and see which can give us a more realistic interpretation of the past. I'm professional archaeologist Sarah Head, and this is forensic cat inspector Bradnir Thrandrell. We're going to put alternative archaeology under our lens and see how it holds up to reality. Archaeological Fantasies presents Curious Archaeology.
People, both in the past and present, have always found a way to preserve history, either through physically collecting artifacts or creating and passing down oral histories.
Stonehenge, for example, was a consistently inhabited site. Its outer ring was constructed in 3000 BCE, almost 6,000 years before the first bluestone was ever erected. Teotihuacan was constructed and inhabited between 100 BCE and 650 AD, when it was abandoned until the Aztecs arrived and named it the place where the gods were created. The giant earthworks of North America were already constructed and established by the predecessors to today's Native American tribes. Yet when the settlers arrived and began discovering these earthworks on their own, the Native Americans at the time already had oral histories explaining what these structures were. What's often recognized as the first recorded archaeological excavation occurred during the New Kingdom phase in Egypt, when the Sphinx was uncovered and reconstructed. We're not really sure who did it exactly, but we have physical evidence of the reconstruction and excavation. And then there's the Museum of Inigaldi Nana, a Babylonian priestess of the moon. She curated an extensive collection of artifacts that her father, Nabonidus, the last king of Babylon, collected throughout his reign. She preserved and cataloged these artifacts for apparent public viewing, as her labels for the objects were written in the three most common languages read at the time.
But that's not really how archaeology took shape. There were several individuals running around the ruins of the ancient world, nabbing and grabbing whatever they could find to return home to Europe with.
But would we really call most of those people archaeologists?
However, in 1815, at the age of 40, Lady Hester Lucy Stanthrope led the first excavation to Ascalon, located 35 miles east of Tel Aviv, Israel, on the Mediterranean coast. Her excavations there constituted the first modern excavations in Palestine. Stanhope used several modern techniques in her exploration of Ascalon, including doing ample background research, keeping daily logs of the excavation itself, paying attention to the remains of the building structure itself, and removing things stratigraphically. She and her assistant correctly analyzed the structure that they found in Ascalon, as well as keeping track of portable artifacts that could easily be misplaced on a dig this old. She kept a catalog and also published her results. Modern techniques that are considered the pillars of archaeology today.
Archaeology truly began to solidify as more than just antiquarianism when archaeologists like Amelia Edwards began their careers in Egyptology.
In 1870, Edwards discovered a well-adorned room in Abu Simbel. She recruited a local crew of 50 men and began to excavate and record everything she found. It was a rich discovery, and it helped launch Edwards' career and establish her reputation. When Edwards returned to England, she immediately started advocating for a better Egyptology, one that was more methodological, and paid attention to more than just the portable and valuable objects. She mentored one William Petrie, funding much of his work in Egypt and transcribing his notes for publication. She even created a job for him on her deathbed. The Amelia Edwards Professor of Egyptian Archaeology and Philology Chair is still active today. Petrie and his wife Hilda were very important to the development of the field of archaeology. They are usually credited with creating systematic methodology in archaeology and improving the preservation techniques of artifacts. The Petries developed the first system of dating layers chronologically by using the ceramics that are found within each.
The beginning of systematic methodology in archaeology led to a more professionalized field. The American Association for the Advancements of Science was founded in 1848 in Pennsylvania. It had Section H, which dealt with anthropology and archaeology. And by the late 1890s, they were encouraged by Alice Cunningham Fletcher and Zella Marie Magdalena Natal to increase funding and support to this section.
In 1885, Alice Fletcher also helped form the Women's Anthropological Society of America, along with Matilda Cox Evans Stevenson. The Archaeological Institute of America would be founded in 1879 by Charles Eliot Norton in Massachusetts, by Fletcher, Natal, Stevenson, and others to expand their focus to include American archaeology. And in 1902, Franz Boas created the American Anthropological Association, which also hosted a section on archaeology.
Precisely. The field as we know it developed in the 1800s.
Well, not exactly. The 1800s certainly saw the formation of archaeology, but the 1900s saw even further professionalization of the field, which included a robust development of theories and methodology in archaeology and anthropology that still affect the field today.
Archaeology as a field grew and matured over time and was pushed into professionalization by many voices in the field. But what does this look like? How do we see those changes in archaeology from the 1800s to the 1900s?
That's something we'll have to investigate in the next episode.